The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Dig Talk. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views and ask questions on Alternative Dig Talk. Dig Talk, the way to go.
Let's serve Uganda. As promised, we deliver. We are redefining the social media narrative, asking tough questions and holding your leaders accountable. We are non-partisan and break down having a conversation with Uganda.
We are the Mighty Drive. We hold debates that give you viable solutions. We bring to you people that Ivora is wanting to listen to. We are gender sensitive and give space to the unheard voices. Not forgetting the quote of the day.
We are live on our social media platforms, The Alternative Uganda on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter from Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Don't miss the debate behind the wheels and studios. I
am Edgar Matthew Karuhanga
and Princess Luo Delidian.
Expect in-depth analysis, credible, factual and authentic information. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
Real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk. On the Alternative Dig Talk. Happening now on the Alternative Dig Talk.
Okay, good morning all our viewers. My name is Norman Tumusiime and we are honored to be hosted by Justice Kanyeihamba. On my left is Honorable Yona Kanyomozi. On my right is retired Justice George Wilson Kanyeihamba. The purpose for which we are here, is to dig deeper into the 36 years of NRA/NRM achievements, do's, don'ts, wrongs, and goods. Justice Kanyeihamba, officially say hello to our viewers today, the 26th January.
Hello, viewers. I greet you, and I hope you had a better year. And 2022 will be better for us still.
Thank you. Honorable Kanyomozi.
Good morning, viewers. Happy New Year and prosperous New Year. I hope you have reached the period of being out of quarantine that we were in, and you are beginning to enjoy yourselves. But be careful, have the masks on, wash your hands all the time, and keep moving. But maybe also I take this opportunity to congratulate Archbishop Semogerere, who was crowned yesterday at Luwaga Cathedral. I think that's a great achievement. And in the propagation of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you. We will begin straight away by definitely condoling with the family of now the late Governor Tumusiime Mutevile. Maybe a word, Prof, in regards to...
Well, it was a very sad day when Dr. Tumusiime Mutevile passed away. He was a very good friend of mine. Following his death, I wrote a moving obituary, which was published by Monitor in yesterday's newspaper. And I said everything that epitomized Professor Tumusiime. He was one of the greatest economists Uganda has ever had. And really, he steered the economy under President Museveni throughout the period of President Museveni's reign. And I think the newspapers yesterday and the day before were correct to say that he was a giant of economy, and he was the, he recovered the economy of Uganda and steered it through all the troubles until today it is at least reasonably safe.
Thank you. I think in a few seconds you'll definitely say a word in regards to the demise and on whether what Justice Kanyeihamba puts to the public is as right as he puts it. As a senior economist to that regard.
I knew Tumusiime from the time he stood for elections at Makerere for the guild. In fact, they used my office to do the propaganda to support his campaign. I was then a director of Industrial Development Center, and I helped them to make sure that he wins, and he won.
Did you read?
So,
if you said you made sure, you know that has been the trend of such politics.
Where is Master Vigas?
Did you read?
No, I didn't read
because
I wasn't. All I did was to provide logistics for him to win. I think he was then with Dr. Hakana Rugonda and others who were on the other side against Mr. Karuhanga, who was standing on the far right. They were standing on the far left. So they won. From that time, I have been associated with him to the extent that when he wrote part of some of his papers when he was at Oxford, he referred them to me. So we have been close friends. I think as an economist, he faced a very challenging thing from the time he started being in that position. He didn't start with Museveni in the 36 years, but he started with the other governments.
That is correct.
He was the chief economist for the other governments that were there. And at the time when these the NRM, NRA came in, he was thought that he was going to run away because he had been the chief economist. I told him that that's what they want. Then you will have opened the floodgate for others to get in. So you stay. And I remember he phoned me. I was then in exile in Nairobi. I told him, you go back and stay in, and he stayed in and rose.
Were you fair to recommend him,
Yes.
someone who finds you in exile, for you are hiding from your country?
I went in exile. Let me tell you why I went in exile. I went in exile when Ruto took over. I didn't go in exile when these people came in. So there is a world of difference.
Okay.
I said, you stay in and serve your country. These are people you have grown up with. You will be comfortable. And I think he has been very comfortable. Furthermore, for Tumusiime, we might have had a different outlook on things like privatization of the economy. And there was a slogan of the so-called Washington consensus of government has no business to be in business. I definitely took a different view that government has a role to play in the development of the economy, but they went the other side with my other colleagues that were in the economic sphere. Okay, we have survived, but there are some things which we need to look at that resulted in that approach, in that there is a domination of the economy by foreigners, and the strategic industries like electricity, banking, are in the hands of foreigners.
And your view would be different, that they be managed here locally?
Yes, we could have privatized in the way Kenya has. The Kenyans have privatized, but they are privatized for Kenyans more than privatized for for foreigners.
I want to cross to Justice
because
he was a minister for trade, and I want you in particular on whether or not you agree with his words. That
No, I agree with what he has said, because when President Museveni came in, he was welcoming. He welcomed all the opposition. Yon had been a member of the opposition, a minister, and he also welcomed him. So he's not wrong, and I want to confirm that if I'm not wrong, he's one of those former ministers of UPC whom President Museveni persuaded to be minister in our NRM government, where I was appointed Minister of Commerce. And therefore, I would have been very surprised if he said he ran away. Not only was Museveni welcoming, he was getting them from abroad. The late Paulo Titi, who has been a very senior official in the minister, the president sent me to go and persuade him to come and join the government. And when he came, he joined the NRM government, and later he's one of those who became deputy prime minister. So at that time, Museveni did everything that was right.
As a minister for privatization, did you ever pick advice from the rest of the economists who were parallel to the idea of privatization at the time you were a minister?
They basically opposed barter trade. Don't think that the NRM, now that it has perfected corruption in this country, it wasn't immune. And when we tried to fight corruption through the advancement of barter trade, I was opposed. I can't tell you what Yona's advice, rather attitude was when I was Minister of Commerce.
I wrote a paper, a whole 2-page paper in the newspaper on the dangers of barter trade.
The dangers.
Yes.
So there he opposed it.
Yes. When I went to Bushenyi, there was something like a rally, these training programs. The special, what were administrators they were called?
DCs?
The DC's equivalent.
He
said I should...
Special District Administrators,
yes,
SDAs.
not Mokeira, his brother. He said I should be arrested because
For such a document that was
you should have been arrested. Because without the barter trade and Museveni,
Yes.
we would never recover from our economic depression.
Yes.
It saved us. And if you read my book, The Defeat of Museveni in the war against crime,
Corruption.
which I'm going to give you a copy.
Thank you.
You will find that many of you, not the governor that's why I liked him. Tumusiime supposed Barter trade because President Museveni also supported it. And
wait a second, Prof. Did you say
Mutebile
support
was a
because-
very loyal cadre
Yes.
of President Museveni throughout his life. So when he realized that Museveni believed in barter trade,
So
and the
automatically
Kanyeihamba
believed.
was the architect of it, he supported.
Yes.
But many of his officials didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I was threatened with my deputy minister, Israel Kayongo.
Yes.
We often got hate letters saying you are enemies of Uganda by projecting this new policy called barter trade. So it was a very controversial but necessary policy.
Well, the only thing that was rather awkward, the triangular barter trade is okay. But when you do barter trade with people who are producing the same goods as you are, then it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem because you are not doing much. For example, I was looking at, I admired Cuba. I was looking at what we were trading with Cuba and some of these other countries. And I thought we should have looked at getting the goods we really need,
that they don't have.
that we
So
don't
that they
have,
have,
and
yeah.
we give them what they don't have.
No,
contrary, just
that's
as
what
Kanyehamba's
the
barter trade
theory,
was
that's
used to
what
have-
the idea.
Yes.
But what we are saying, which is correct, is later we discovered
Yes.
that Cuba was also an exporter of coffee.
Yes.
So they were getting our coffee cheaply
And,
and
exporting it.
repackaging
Then
it
it
and
comes back.
packing it. As in one blessing, they are our friends.
Yes.
But that is not what we are getting from Cuba. From Cuba, we are getting doctors and the medical equipment,
And
which
not
we didn't have.
And not only that, we are getting TVs and fridges also.
Okay, sitting amidst these two gentlemen is so amazing, and I will have to, for some reason, cut them short and then put them back. Honorable Kanyomozi, on my right is Justice Kanyeihamba, who was very instrumental in the amongst the group that pushed you away. Have you had time?
Pushed us
No,
away?
yeah, the UPC. I mean,
Yeah, we removed
yes, you
UPC
removed these
from
people.
power. I was one of the great architects of that.
You didn't
How does it
remove
feel?
your PC. You removed the military. Yeah,
No.
your former
How does it
colleagues.
feel?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Tell him that you removed
Let
him
me
from
tell
power.
you,
Yes.
when we were fighting against
Him and others.
you, I met your colleague.
Who is this
Before
one?
the military called, you ask him, Dr. Nkwasibwe,
Yes.
and I harangued him in London to go into exile. I said, we have lost confidence in the Bote UPC government, and it is doing worse than anything you can imagine for the people of Uganda. So, the fact, we stayed in a hotel together in the same bedroom. When we were there, the spies of Bote came and rifled his briefcase, thinking he had brought to me bad papers. Now, forget that. Then, while you are still in power, we went to Nairobi. I don't know whether you came there, but Amanya Mshega, Wakana Uganda came there. And it was opposed by UPC. Rulangaranga was the leader of the UPC at that meeting where we wanted to remove Idi Amin. But he opposed us simply because he wanted us to recognize Obote as president in exile, and we refused.
So why,
No, there was a fight before the military commission.
so why do you say they did not remove you from power?
They didn't. We were removed by the army, led by Tito Okello and Basilio Okello.
So NRA never moved it from power?
No.
Do you know why you were easily removed? Because we had already weakened you. You were nothing.
How would you have said that you had
I have
weakened
told
us?
you the meeting I spent with Pasid in London.
Well, how would you say
Persuading
that?
would come.
How would
There
you
was
say
a
that?
meeting in...
So it's your strength after you had weakened them.
Yes.
That Tito Okello also
Absolutely,
got a shaky
they
tooth.
took advantage.
So
These people
Ruto
had
got
been
a shaky
weakened.
tooth, and so you had
The
became,
people who were
had become rather
fighting,
a shaky
they
tooth.
had been weakened, and they had now left the areas where they were fighting.
Who had been
and
weakened?
gone.
These ones here.
Not him.
I mean, his team.
His
NRA
team.
and
NRA had
No.
been weakened, and they had gone to the west. Not only that, they had written even a letter to President
We went to the
Nyerere
west to govern.
to
Govern the country, which was by that time when
asking
governed,
for,
we
for,
didn't
for
run
a
away.
discussion
For talks.
For talks.
Do you remember the
The
government?
president of the
Do you remember the
command of the
administration?
army
Do you
had
remember?
already gone to Sweden.
who had gone? Who had? You mean General Museveni had
Yes.
escaped and deserted? the
No, he
He had
hadn't.
left.
Good heavens.
I have
with the two
these facts.
historicals that beauty.
You mean somebody else took power and then he came from Sweden to become president? You come on.
He did.
That is part of the UPC
UPC,
problem.
He did.
You don't accept reality, you tell lies.
Okay,
no,
viewers,
no.
Today is 20.
You don't stay.
It
You
marks
don't
36
stay
years.
lies.
It marks 36 years ever since NRA captured Kampala, but it captured on 25th. I am reliably informed that they did not want to share that date with Amin because Amin had captured power on 25th.
That's right.
Jan. So Mr. Museveni, either he believed in superstition, he didn't want to declare 25th, so he considered.
You are
That's
right.
true.
That's true.
That's true.
Uh-huh. So
But
how these two
they were
historicals-
here on the 25th.
They're already here in 25th.
So they should have celebrated with Amin. They were all
These two
military.
historicals are amazing. On my right is the legal brains. On my left is the economist. But definitely both professions have either messed this country or they have promoted this country. Because there should be some mistakes, economic mistakes, and there should be legal and constitutional mistakes. Justice Kanyeihamba, 36 years down the road, it's on record. You have been in the 3 organs of government. That is legislature, you have been in judiciary, you have been in cabinet. Tell us precisely what are those specific achievements in every single organ where you have been before things go wrong.
The NRM government over this period has made tremendous progress in realizing the power of the people of Uganda. The fact that many members, including Museveni, do not respect or violate the provision of the 1995 Constitution does not show that Uganda has not advanced. The life expectation of Ugandans has improved beyond recognition. I think it is now in the 60s, early 60s. When we came in power as a movement, the life expectation was about 49. So that is an improvement. We had one university in the country called Makerere. Today we have more than half a dozen or more universities. In other words, there have been expansion of the educational system. My regret is that we have not kept pace in promoting value and standards. They have gone down. So we have improved the number of scholars, but reduced the IQ of our candidates, which is very regrettable.
You may need to repeat that and tell the viewers what you exactly mean that you have multiplied the numbers of elites and rather fought the IQ.
There is a book available in the bookshop called The Defeat of Museveni. And when you read it further, he's been defeated thoroughly, and he admits it on the war against corruption. In that booklet, I give more details about what I mean. We have increased the number of bureaucracies and public officials, but drastically diminished the IQ. And I give you an example, a vivid one. Where one of my relatives was studying in Rukunjiri, and the teacher gave her a report. And the report said, excellent in mathematics. When I read the report, she had got only 39%. So I said, this teacher, there is a problem with him. He made a mistake. How can you give a 39 mark book excellent? So I called my niece. I said, what is his name? Do you have his telephone number? She gave me the telephone number. I called him. Mr. Bitagata. So I said, is that Mr. Bitagata? You teach history at this school, he said. You marked last term, and one of those people, my relative, got 39, and in your comments you said, very good, excellent. Did you make a mistake? He said, no, I never made mistakes. I am respected as a teacher, I can't make a mistake. So how do you explain that? He said, because she was the first in that class.
With the 38.
Yes, 39 marks. 39. Shows you that today, I think last month, the month before, there were publications of all the results in all schools, how we did excellently, how all primary schools in Kabale and everywhere did right. Kabale came first in administration. But when you look at those results, they are really very, very poor, very disappointing. They don't reflect the praise that they get. So the educational system, standards, values, have propagated to the ground under my government, the NRM government.
Okay, you have heard him. They fought you, you are denying they didn't fight, they didn't topple UPC, they were dealing with Rutua. Okay, now he has talked about their achievements. Is he honest?
I think my outlook is this. Yes, there is the normal growth.
Why do you say normal growth?
Normal growth. People grow. I mean, if you have a person, he's young, he has got to grow as the things progress. I distinguish growth and development. Development changes the welfare of the people in the nation. And growth, the country can grow, but the welfare of the people could still be very low. If you increase the number, they are growing and the numbers are increasing, but crime is increasing, corruption is increasing, the pass mark is 39,
with an excellent as a
and
remark.
it is called excellent. That I regard as growth. Yes, it's growth. People have performed. But in 4 terms of development, which I agree with the professor here, the IQ has gone down. And you can't praise that as a thing which you have got to be proud of. Indeed, the growth rate of Uganda has reached the level of the first UPC government, 6%.
The first UPC?
Yes, the first UPC, 62 to 71. 6%. It's a very good growth, and there is no question about it. But in terms of development, there is very, very little that we can be proud of. And I think the professors pronounced it very well. You have all these good universities, I mean number of universities, but what type of quality? Are they producing the Kanyeihambas anymore? Are they, you can get a university person coming to, you ask her, I don't know you very well, please write to me what you think I should say as a recommendation. And the person says, the idea he goes on to say things which really are totally irrelevant. That's growth, yes. The person has passed through the system, but in terms of development of the human self or the human being is still very low. And on that one, I agree perfectly with what he has called the defeat of this nation. The second aspect is, yes, yesterday somebody told me, don't you realize that we have, it was the Prime Minister, don't you realize there are so many factories in Uganda than, I mean, what do you expect? The country can't be stagnant. Yeah? But who owns those factories?
Yes.
Who? Who owns those factories? Yes, there are so many factories in Ruwero. You go to Ruwero, the Ruwero that I know, where coffee was being produced and where have you. Look, people are still eating mayuni and dry tea, omukaru.
And enswa.
And enswa. Is that development? No, it's growth. The numbers have increased.
Honorable,
the factories
you
are there.
Pushing the question to a wrong person. You should point to him. Is that development?
No. But he has already said it isn't. Yeah. He has already said. He has already agreed that it's not. Yes, we admit there is growth.
But no development.
There's no development.
So if I may ask on behalf of our viewers, Honorable, if they hadn't interfered with your leadership, do you think it would be slightly far than now, in your view?
I don't want to speculate. Because I'm not...
No, given your record, because they are specific.
Let me give you a specific thing. I would restrict myself to the ministry I was running.
Yeah.
The Ministry of Cooperative and Marketing. You take the cooperatives first. The cooperative movement had actually advanced very, very far. They were nearly institutions which would have developed into industrial complexes very easily. And the example I always give is the transport, Uganda Cooperative Transport Union in Kawempe. They built their own headquarters without borrowing any money from anywhere. Of course, now the headquarters, I gather, is taken over by the military to train LDUs. But I found them with 17 vehicles. I left when they had 300 and 4 buses plying to Kigali and Bujumbura and to Kenya. That I'd give. If you saw the essence of the East Mengo Cooperative, these briquettes that you see people selling, we had started them where? In Busoga. You go to Mbale, and you go to Teso, the Kachumbara Ginary. You go to Lango, you go to Gulu, and all these things, they were moving. And we had managed to correct the trade. At that time, there was a quota system for coffee trading. And during Amin's time, the coffee trading had fallen to 1.9 million bags. We brought it back to 3.2 million bags. So there was something moving, the growth part. In addition, when you went in the countryside, there were vehicles. People were moving. And you can't deny that there was a sign. But mark you, the war which they started,
Which is he proud of.
which
and
is
others.
proud of, was just 10 kilometers away from the capital. Eh?
Yeah.
And things were happening. And I always ask, who won the war? He will tell you,
They're the
they
ones,
won
they have
the
been
war.
Yeah.
If you win a war, you
But,
kill the enemy.
When you read my
You
book,
kill the enemy. So,
the defeat of Museveni,
yes,
in a civil war,
Yes.
nobody wins. Museveni lost friends, I lost relatives, other people lost. So when you count
and
the
It's a
losses,
win-win and a
themselves,
loss,
nobody
a loss
wins.
to each other.
exactly. But some of my friend, some people have failed to realize that it wasn't a liberation war. It was a civil war.
It was a civil war.
Yes.
Ah.
So if they realize that it is a civil war, and civil wars are always negative, and there is nothing to celebrate about
About a
them.
civil war. So you mean
For example, the Americans don't they celebrate the defeat of southern states. They don't.
does that
But
mean
does it mean that if you win, you celebrate? And let's go even further. After the war, what happened in the north and eastern region of this country? We had a 20 years civil war still going on. So we need to be realistic and say, ask our ancestors or God, whoever it is, to help us to heal the wounds and move on and respect the welfare of our people.
our viewers are still in between two brilliant historicals, but most importantly, opinion leaders, and they have seen it. At least one assurance I have is that they have seen more than we have seen. In fact, we cannot ascertain on whether we shall see as much as they have seen. Having said that, Justice Kanyeihamba, today your people celebrate 36 years in power. But there are those that have been under Mr. Museveni's governance as an individual who could be, I mean, for over 40 also years, because it's on record that in the 70s, late 70s, and early 80s, he was already a leader as Minister for Defense and also Vice Chairman, Military Commission. Do you think there is a lot? Is it worth celebrating 36 years today, in your view?
Every year we spend on us should be celebrated. They have reasons for celebrating, many reasons. If you read again my little book, The Defeat of Museveni, I am saying he should give power now. He should resign. There are times under our historical culture of the Bachiga Banyankole that you should assess when you should stop dancing to entertain the people. You get old, and you let the younger people who have been learning from you do the dancing. Museveni must retire now and let the younger people govern this Uganda we all love. I have written that little booklet for every Ugandan, no longer to be shy and to ask Museveni, when are you retiring? 36 is too long to have allowed one group to dance for this country. We have overdanced.
And Ugandans have overwatched.
And the Ugandans are tired. Ugandans no longer see any value in our dancing, and we should put it down, the gauntlet, and let somebody take it up.
I have this for you. Kindly listen. It's by Honorable Jacob Maxon Oboth. This is what he said yesterday while appearing in a committee of parliament. We can take responsibility for not coming to brief parliament. These people, in bracket, ADF, had penetrated our systems here. There was a total need to surprise our enemies, which was done. He had been questioned why they did not consult parliament as they attacked Congo in particular. In your view, would you call that abuse or disrespect of government, cabinet per se, to parliament?
You see, I am a believer in the Uganda Constitution. And the Uganda Constitution says, for you to send our national troops to a foreign country to fight, you must get consent from Parliament. If I believe in the Uganda Constitution, I therefore think that the government was wrong to go in without the nod from Parliament. But having said that, I don't agree with both who says because the
ADF had penetrated,
penetrated our system, we shouldn't tell Parliament. That is the only reason we should tell Parliament.
It's the other way around instead.
The other way around. Yes.
I do agree with you. But let me say this. Even when you are going, the flexibility the cabinet has or the government has is that if they wanted to go in as a surprise, immediately they have done the surprise, they come quickly and report.
Absolutely.
And say, look, we did a surprise because we were in a terrible situation.
Not to wait
but not to wait for 3 months, 4 months. The surprise becomes no longer a surprise. It becomes it is giving away the thing that you don't care.
That's right.
And you don't respect the structures and the institutions you have put up. So the minister there is wrong. Yes, if they had been infiltrated to that extent that they
would be
needed
the reason for them to run
when they ran and got there, they should have come saying, we have
the
got
reason
there,
we have done this
is this and
is
this.
because of this. Yeah.
So,
on behalf of our viewers, how can Parliament, with its leadership now and over 529 or so MPs, regain their respect and their respect and reputation than being looked at as a doormat by the cabinet? Because not once, I am sure you remember when SFC attacked and gave them good bokos sometime during the Toji Kwatako, so many times. What can be done?
You see, many things depend on others. As long as President Museveni is leader of Uganda, the kind of parliament we have will remain the same. So it is futile to say how will it be reformed when Museveni is
one
there.
solution.
So you follow the defeat of Museveni. Remove him, and we shall reform parliament.
Justice Kanyeihamba, in a second before I go back, I go to Honorable Ayona. You want to say that, in your view, given your experience, that Uganda's biggest problem is with this one individual?
That individual,
because you said
is
remove
supposed
him
by a system. And if he's removed, that system will collapse. Okay? So it is really a question of which came first, the egg of the kitchen, the chick. They are symbolic. They support each other.
Museveni and his system.
So the easiest way between the two, a useless parliament and an authoritarian president, it is easier to remove one individual, the president, the others will collapse, rather than fight a parliament of nearly 500, where you have to fight each of them, their brains and everything. So it is easier to remove the individual.
Okay, viewers, we are with Justice Kanyeihamba and Honorable Kanyomozi. Honorable Kanyomozi, history has it, sometimes there are some philosophers who have said that for some reason, history doesn't repeat itself, but rather forgetters repeat the same mistakes. With your darling Milton Obote.
My darling?
Yeah, as UPC people. And as UPC diehards, he individually, with the help of one or so lawyers, drafted what is known as the Pigeonhole Constitution. And it was simply delivered to Parliament for parliamentarians to be surprised the following morning that, look, this is the document we are following. Isn't that the same disrespect that Mr. Museveni is borrowing from your former comrade, President Obote? Is he becoming a student of your...
I think that should be asked the lawyer first.
You see?
First and foremost,
Yeah.
what you call the Pigeonhole Constitution did not last even a year. It was replaced by the 1967 Constitution, which was debated in Parliament. Two, you should realize the circumstances which forced the Pigeonhole Constitution to come into being. If the things that were happening in the country at that time went on happening, the government of the day would have been overthrown also. So it would have been very bad. Do you think, if you remember the things that happened at Mengo and what have you, do you think a ceremonial president asking a foreign country to provide them with an army to fight the government which he is leading ceremonially is right?
Justice will answer for all of us.
I don't know. Do you think it is right for people in government to vote, in cabinet to have a vote of no confidence in the same government they are serving? Do you think these are the problems Obote was facing? If such a thing happened in these 36 years in this government, which my colleague has said the leader has captured everybody to the extent that Parliament is, you called it a doormat, that Parliament becomes irrelevant. Of course, you need to see elsewhere. Now, you look at what is happening in Britain with the Boris Johnson. Members of the Conservative Party, to which the Prime Minister belongs to, are the ones leading the onslaught on the Prime Minister. Can that happen here in the government of the day today? It can't. That's why you need to be a bit more open. You open yourself and look at the other things that are in the country and elsewhere. Indeed, as a professor says, indeed, if one person stays in power for a very long time, he thinks he's indispensable. Once he thinks that, it spells something. Two, even when parties stay too long in the same position, and worse still, with the same leader, things become worse. You have seen it elsewhere. Whether it was the communist parties in Eastern Europe, whether it was parties in other different countries, things becomes the normal. And once it becomes the normal, the mistakes are accepted as the normal.
But you hadn't stayed here long, Honorable, as UPC, for you to say, if I am quoting you right,
yes,
you said the longer a specific party or leader stay in power, the most likely that they will commit lots of mistakes. UPC hadn't been here for so long. Why is it that the professor and his team put it on to you that you had lots of wrongs?
Were wrongs more than the wrongs they have committed? Did we go
answer that question?
Let me ask you.
Not asking, Prof.
No,
I am simply observing. He's here. He's the one who waged the war to your government.
You are observing badly. You are saying that the reason why I would say was Ruelo necessary.
To him, it's a yes.
He would say yes.
To you?
Why was it necessary? Was it because it was going to change the status quo? I think a revolution changes the welfare of things. A revolution which maintains either the status quo or goes down than the status quo was is not a revolution. I will give you an example. The UPC government, either the soldiers of the UPC government attacked the Rubiri in 1960, 66, is it?
Yes, it is 6.
We
Uganda,
have,
UPC,
we have
Uganda
also
places.
attacked the Rubiri in Kasese.
Yes.
Can you compare the two?
One, not so. I think it's a yes, and no, he will answer on behalf of.
No, but
let me answer that question.
He will answer.
You
But let me
see,
first
we need to acquaint ourselves with a lot of historical facts to justify what we are saying. For example, you were talking about the British Prime Minister today, Johnson, being in trouble, but being in trouble from his own party.
Yes.
We have a parallel here in President Museveni. When he wanted to change the constitution against the will of the people, Kategaya, Bidandisari, Amanya Mshega, Matembe opposed him and said no. They were members of his group. Eventually he sacked them, all of them. And when the parliament refused to obey his order, he bribed them with 5 million. You read my little monograph challenging presidential election. All that information is there. My only quarrel with Kanyomozi, politicians of today, why haven't you ever challenged it? Paragraph A, subsection 6 of section 59 of the Presidential Elections Act, which provides that you courts, when you are considering a petition, presidential petition, it should not change your mind looking up what did anything make any difference.
We
But
in a second, Honorable,
I am asking him.
He's going to answer.
I have given that resolution to NUPN. I have given to DP and FDCU. They have chickened out from presenting it in the parliament. In the parliament, we have 1 or 2 MPs who belong to the UPC. I am challenging you now
on behalf of UPC
publicly. Let a member of the current parliament move a motion that paragraph A of subsection 6 of section 59 of the Presidential Elections Act is unconstitutional and unlawful, should be deleted from the
Okay, our viewers.
It is the only provision.
Honorable, in 1 second, please. Our viewers, in our second hour, we want you to call live and ask these 2 gentlemen, however controversial questions might be. Call 0759 Honorable, keep here so that they can ask you with UPC things. Justice Kanyeihamba with his people. Guys, viewers, please call 0759 132 310. Those with the MTN, call 089 017 145. We are coming back in just 1 minute. Don't go away. We're coming back.
Okay. On the Alternative Digital. Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Dig Talk. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views and ask questions on Alternative Dig Talk. Dig Talk, the way to go.
Ready? Okay, let's serve Uganda. As promised, we deliver. We are redefining the social media narrative, asking tough questions and holding your leaders accountable. We are non-partisan and break down having a conversation with Uganda.
We are the mighty drive. We hold debates that give you viable solutions. We bring to you people that you've always wanted to listen to. We are gender sensitive and give space to the unheard voices. Not forgetting the quote of the day.
We are live on our social media platforms, The Alternative Uganda on Facebook, YouTube and Twitter from Monday to Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Don't miss the debate behind the wheels and studios.
I am Edgar Matthew Karuhanga
and Princess Luwe Delidian.
Expect in-depth analysis, credible, factual and authentic information. We are the Alternative Dig Talk.
Real issues, real talk.
Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk. Happening now on the Alternative Dig Talk. Happening now on Happening now on the Alternative Digital. Happening now on the Alternative Digital. The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk. Happening now on the Alternative Digital. Happening now on the Alternative Digital.
Okay, our viewers, we are back, by the way, in the minutes as we had promised. I am still with Justice Kanyeihamba and Honorable Kanyomozi. My colleagues are making fun of me that I am equally old and therefore a suitable host for this show. And indeed, I pray that I also make the same way as you people have made. A quick one. While you were away, we had to talk and also think aloud. Who is in charge of UPC? Does it still exist?
The UPC, part of it was sold
Part of UPC?
or taken over by NRM on a memorandum of understanding, which nobody has seen. And legally, I don't know whether it's binding. So it becomes very difficult to say there is UPC. The members of who are in parliament, virtually all of them, including one who is a minister,
The wife to the president.
the wife to the president of
party.
UPC, is in a minister in the NRM government. I don't know whether it's a coalition, whether it's an understanding. I have failed to get the legal interpretation of it. So it becomes very difficult for me
to tell us
to
whether
tell
or not
us
UPC exists.
whether no, I think it exists. The members are still there. Some.
Are you a proud member of one of that faction that is
I
still
can't
standing?
be proud of a proud member when things are falling apart.
Does that mean you are, for lack of another word, and this is with due respect to your status as a member,
Yeah.
would one be right to say you are a political orphan? As in your party, it's like a parade.
Well, it has no, at the moment, it has no direction. I haven't seen any critical remarks from them. Those who are supposed to be in power, in its leadership.
Who is in leadership? Because
You
I used to practice at the chambers in Uganda House.
Yes.
And when I was, the person who introduced me there was Oraro Tunu. When he was the president of UPC. He actually introduced me to the management there. Later, new management confiscated my furniture, claiming wrongly that I owed money, which I didn't, even though I was showing them receipt. Then the new manager, I forget his name, came in. I said, why are we holding his furniture? This is illegal. He gave it to me back freely. I got all my furniture from there. I don't know whether the office still carries my name. But as I say, UPC had a permanent residence there on floor 5. Secondly,
On floor, yes. On
I
floor
heard that there was a dispute between Akena, the son of Obote,
and Waru-
Warubiri.
and Orara Otunu, the president of UPC then. I don't know how it was resolved. But then I gather that one of our cabinet ministers is wife of Okena. How does that translate
In a political
in UPC terms?
Is it the same
It
politics?
doesn't translate at all.
But honorable, is it, and Justice Kanyeihamba, is it the same politics? Because we have seen Isaac Musumba being a minister in your government, whereas Salam Musumba subscribed and still subscribes to FDC. Is it becoming a new normal?
I don't want to go. Those are domestic things.
Than the party,
Than the one,
party principle.
the Musumba one is a domestic thing. I don't.
Wouldn't want to- it's not close to the
It is
party.
like
Sumba woman didn't become a minister, but she was FDC,
the husband.
just like her husband. So there was no
The
conflict.
husband has been a minister for NRM.
NRM.
Isaac
And he's a
Musumba.
minister, yeah, that's right.
Maybe to also ask, have you as elders of a party, of UPC, played your role to ensure that things go right?
The thing is, there is a problem. I was indirectly telling him that the thing that happened is that Obote's earlier thing was to say they have a board to run the affairs of the foundation, the Obote Foundation. The Obote Foundation, when the parties were not legal persons,
That's how it
they
came with the
couldn't
strategy of
own.
the foundation.
That's when the foundation was done, and the foundation had its legal entity. But now parties are legal persons. They can own.
Had the foundation superseded
And
the powers
then,
of the party?
yes,
in your view?
because whoever holds pays the piper calls the tune. And that if you are, the party is still outside the foundation. And it was never, because the understanding during our time was that the party was forced, the foundation was forced always to report to the party what is happening. But now they don't need to. And they are protected. And you know the Milton Obote Foundation is protected by the state. So it becomes very difficult. I don't want to go into the intricacies of this thing, but it has made life difficult for the party. I mean, sponsorship of candidates and what have you is not done unless you conform to the memorandum of understanding and conform to the respect who?
Is Mrs. Akena,
Yes.
who is the cabinet minister in President Museveni government,
Yes.
does she pay royalty to the party? Which one? NRM or UPC?
I think he pays royalty to
The appointing authority.
the appointing authority and is tied to the president. And he calls himself a member of UPC.
Who?
The minister.
Among
Which
Justice Kanyeihamba.
which is very difficult for me to understand.
our theme, as we said, Honorable, feel free to take your tea as Justice answers these legal concerns. One of the points you people raised amongst the 10-point program was human rights, rule of law, and the rest. As one of the brains behind the Constitution, in particular, you people were so key in ensuring that Chapter 4, as is included in our Constitution. We have so many occasions, and the most fresh one is of a simple author, Kakwenza Lukirabasaija, beaten and the rest, UPDF and others denied. The prison's medical report comes out that he has healing wounds. But also in the same constitution, which you indeed played a bigger role, is Uganda Human Rights Commission. Let's begin with the Human Rights Commission. Do you think it has played its role?
When I come to talk about the rule of law and the human rights and the record of the NRM, that's when I am very sad. I am saddest because we have broken every rule relating to human rights. We have ignored the principle of the rule of law in our country. Everything that we have been doing since the NRM converted into a political party has been a negation of what our Constitution stands for and what human rights activists believe in. So it is very sad. The other day, I was absolutely flabbergasted when a suspect, MP, applied and was refused bail by a judicial officer, even though the suspect proved I am badly damaged and I need hospitalization. Which means that some of the NRM cadre have no human feeling. They only obey the orders of the leadership blindly. That is a very sad development in our country. So, I have defended the record of the NRM, even with my discussions with the owner here, But there is one there where I condemn it wholesale without any redeeming feature. The NRM has been the instrument of developing and sustaining corruption in Uganda, unlimited. It is the most corrupt governing machinery we ever had. There was corruption in Obote's government, certainly, under Idi Amin, but not on the scale that we have witnessed under Museveni and the NRM. That is why I am of the very strong view that he should be forced in this term, this year, to disclose when he will retire from government. He should be forced, not to be persuaded, cajoled, but politically forced to announce that I will not stand again.
But let me just pose a question. How do you do that? I think from the beginning, the people like my friend here who joined NRM or who joined the president maybe didn't understand him fully.
No, we understood him, but he changed.
He changed?
Yes. We understood him. That's why we supported him. But during the office, he changed. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts. Absolute. When you allowed him to have power, absolute power.
But he has told you he's there to work for himself, his grandchildren.
No, he never said he was going to work for himself.
He
said he's a servant of the people.
No, he says he's not a servant.
But because it's changed, I told him. Yeah. I'm telling you, he has changed. Do you know one of the disciples in our Bible? You are a Christian. Judas Iscariot.
Yes.
Who recruited him?
Jesus.
Why do you think he recruited him?
He thought he was a nice guy.
What happened when he hanged himself in the temple?
Because he had gone.
He had a change, dude.
He has
become corrupt.
So you think these people will hang?
So don't blame us for writing the 1995 Constitution. Yes. Don't blame us for having supported Museveni in the first place. We were right on the facts as they were then. But he's the one who has changed.
But you didn't, when you were making the Constitution, you should have protected those clauses.
My God, you don't have a reading culture.
That's the same question that would always cause trouble to Justice Kanyeihamba.
If you read my book,
yes. But this
the
is not
commentary on politics and constitution in Uganda, it tells you there was no power we ever left open. He could not appoint a cabinet minister without the authority of parliament. He could not appoint a judge who is not recommended by the Judicial Service Commission. That's what the Constitution says. So we never left anything.
What happened then? What happened?
I told you he changed.
When he changed, did the MPs, the cabinet members also change?
They changed with him because of corruption.
So we have a system of people who simply, we have a system led by Iscariot, like
absolutely. You when I was in the CA,
this is it for you in 15 minutes to close.
Pardon?
This is a question for you in just a few minutes to close. If you were still an active judge, you grant people bail, for instance, like Rukira Basaija, and that person is Kakwenza, and that person is, after even fulfilling all the requirements. A second, we have a caller. Yes, hello, you could say, your name, where you're calling from?
Hello, thank you for the show.
Your name, please?
My name is Ismail from Hoima.
Yes, Isma.
Yeah, I would like to thank the Alternative Digital for the opportunity you've given Ugandans today
Yes, please.
by hosting those senior citizens who really serve truly their country with beyond self. And indeed, it is such a occasion, such days, should be getting such voices of hope. Because you see, what we are suffering with in this country is the dishonesty of Mr. Museveni and the men and women who are still following him. So when we hear voices from senior citizens like Justice Kanyeihamba, who truly served this country with one heart and with, because when you read all these books and everything, it clearly tells how he really served. From the way back in time when he was in exile, came back, serving justice and what has been serving with true heart of Uganda, and really they love Uganda. But the problem we have of Mr. Museveni, I think now it goes back to us, the young generation, to emulate and listen to such voices and forge a way forward on what is next. Because you see, it is our generation, Museveni has killed generations and generations, is even eating in our grandchildren's generation. So I think it's high time, as they celebrate these days, we look into it as a generation and forge a way forward on how we are going to end this dictatorship and the rule, the self-rule of Mr. Museveni and his men.
Thank you, Kasule from Hoima, as you put it. It's not a question in particular.
But Uganda is so great to host such great men. And Justice Kanyeihamba, we appreciate you so much. And we really, in this country, that you can still find time and come and talk to Ugandans and give them hope.
Okay, thanks, Kasule. Say hello to all Banyoro Kati and others. He simply commends your work and yeah, to keep it up. We have less than 8 minutes to close. There is a question, the question didn't conclude. Sorry, some other person. Hello, your name and where you're calling from, and questions or comments to that regard? Yes, please.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead and ask your question. Kale sebo nawe bali kulaba nakubeerako. Yesebo semwangu.
Okusima kwange ennyo kubanga musajja mukulu Profesa Kanyeihamba asobola okuddira nga abavubuka n'atuwa obudde okuwuliriza ku bigambo bye.
Genda mu maaso mu butikitiki nga bwobwo kubanga okubye n'obudde bugenderedde.
So nkubye okwebaza mwami oyo naki kimagezi kigatuwa nga ab'omulembe guno.
Omulembe ogwalemwa. Okay, ngenda mubuuza ekirungi ekizibu ky'abalamuzi olumu tebagala kwogera Luganda naye agenda kuddamu mu Luganda. Prof.
Webale nnyo sebo kusiima. Ono Luganda yinza kulwogera. Ekibuuzo ky'obuuziza kintu kikulu nnyo. Naye njagala buli muntu yenna basoma akatabo akagamba nti defeat of President Museveni. Mukataba ako mpandiika ensobi zonna za NRM ne Museveni bye bakoze nga batandika kufuga Uganda. Ne nyogera ku amateeka amakulu ga constitution ya Uganda ya 1995. Bagamenya gonna. Bw'ayagala kintu kyakukola amateeka geerabira akola agage. Ate eyo sinsala y'abantu ba Uganda naawe ng'obalimu. Kale kyengambye mu katabo akapya katabo katono bakayita defeat of President Museveni. Nyagala ababanyagala abawulira ebinyenyogera mukasabe mukagule ne bwakabadde nga temumanye Lungereza manoonye omuntu akababunuulire mu nnimi zaffe. Nkoze ekibiina bakyeta Kanyeihamba Foundation kirimu abakyala Matembe, amakyala Bigombe, walimu omukyala Dr. Ani Doctor who?
Zedriga.
The breeder.
Zedriga.
Yes. And others. And abavubuka be basinga. Waliwo mububika Solomoni yawanjisa abapya byonna. Akatabo ako koogera nti obunaku butuuse. Kati bwewuli twetulogerera. Sijjo omwaka guno. Buli mwenta n'aba bansemba mwogere nti Museveni alekule. Museveni alekule. Akatabo abo nkagamba nti mulina abamanzi be Uganda. Nabo abatatya. Temutya nakatono. Mutandike kwogera. Nga abakulisa waliya ate olaba Kanyomoza
mutitizi
mukikola babwera kwasa tujja kubajuliza
semwange
bakwata ana nabakwata bwashite bakakwata Kanyeihamba bwashite bankwate nze nkawandize nze kati ntero mulanga abantu bakasome bwashite bankwata ne bansiba bayira kabakwata muli bantu ba Museveni
abatitizi
Kanyomozi abo bogera naye bwe kituuka kyakukola
bogera nnyo bakola
mpola
ebigambo bya Justice Kanyeihamba and Honorable Yona Kanyomozi. In our closing remarks, I have two specific questions to you, and then I close with Justice Kanyeihamba. You and Akena Pejok started Save Uganda movement.
Yes.
In your move against Amin. Where did that? I mean, it's something new. Like people do not know what happened. It died on its birth. Save Uganda movement.
Because they don't have reading culture.
You're borrowing this word as well.
Because they don't. Because if you read the people who were in the struggle and who went to Moshe, and how the structure of Moshe was, and who went on the military commission, you'll find Save Uganda movement was fully represented. The secretary of Save Uganda movement of the military commission was our person. Then he was Kano Maruru, and the other participants, Maria and others, were in.
Okay.
So we got absorbed as
any
other groups which were there.
It's on record now. This is your second last question. It's on record. You sneaked. If it were good, I would say you smuggled Salim Saleh from Nairobi to Tanzania. Do you have any regrets for having done that? Because at a time, maybe you were doing it for purposes of thinking that this team would liberate this country.
No, yeah, only me and Kena Pojok only offered him transport to take him from Nairobi with the Rwigema to the border with Kenya and Tanzania. And I think it was a good thing to do. We were all fighting, I mean. Two, I'm grateful to Rwigema. At least when I came back, he recognized my contribution and gave me 2 lunches.
Does that mean to the contrary that Salim Saleh did not ever or has never recognized you?
I have never even talked to him, maybe.
Your last question, across here he closes. Today is 36 years under NRM. If you, it will sound slightly hypothetical, if you had an opportunity to march to Mr. Museveni and whisper to him, what would you whisper to him?
Me?
In regards to the 36 years over there NRM being in power.
Me, I would tell him. I wouldn't whisper, I would tell him.
But he just called you Orimu TTs. Would you?
I would, if I have a chance.
You'd gather the courage.
If I have a chance to meet him, I would tell him that he should organize exit properly and get out and leave others to perform. And I'm sure he would maybe listen, but he would think that maybe I'm trying to spoil his revolution.
Would you mind if that person came from NRM?
it would be better if the people inside were the ones telling him that. But they are not there, except Kanyeihamba, who has written it.
The same question you have, by God's grace, reached that gentleman, what would you whisper? Or this time around, you would not even whisper.
I would say,
back at him.
thank you very much for serving our country, my brother. But it is now time for you to put your tools down and hand over power immediately to a person chosen by the all Ugandans. I would not fear. Okay. You can see Yona, my good friend, still speaks with funged tongue.
No.
When I was advising a Ugandan,
I have said what I have said with not once, but many times, that if you stay too long, you mess up things.
Thank you, I agree with you.
Yes.
But what I was saying about is, when I advised the Ugandan on this program,
take action. He chickened out.
You chickened out. You said, they will arrest you.
Multi-tees.
How, if you know they will arrest him, how can, if you meet him, say anything to him?
Let me tell you.
You have advised the citizen.
What have you done?
Yes, they will arrest you. How would you talk to
What have you done? What? They have arrested Kwizera. They have arrested Kwizera. Kakwensa, sorry. What have you done?
They have arrested him.
He has
listen
also.
You asked me a question. I have to answer it, haven't I?
Answer justice and then
I have written many articles
yes,
against the kind of treatment I have given to Kakwensa. I am in court challenging President Museveni on bail. Kanyeihamba is leading the petition. That's what I have done.
You should tell us what he has done as
well.
well.
What have you done?
Great.
What have I done?
Yes.
I have gone on, when the media allows me, I've gone
Like
on
today,
media and pronounced myself.
On what?
And said, and advised the people, don't touch Museveni, they are arresting you.
No!
Is that a good advice?
Okay, Prof.
Shut up.
I have
said,
I have said,
don't say anything, they will arrest you.
Okay, Justice Kanyeihamba on my right, Honorable Yona Kanyomozi. Guys, we keep your comments going through, and I can assure you, you never know, by God's grace, we shall also convene these gentlemen. This time around, we should take Justice Kanyeihamba to Honorable Yona Kanyomozi's home, because, by the way, it's on record. It's close to 20 years ever since he visited you. You see? So we are here to break the odds. It is always the Alternative Digital. People follow us on all our social media platforms. We are the Alternative Uganda on Facebook, Alternative Uganda on YouTube, Alternative Uga on Twitter. We like you. We love you guys. Keep it Alternative Digital. Continue liking, following, and sharing all these shows and other subsequent shows. Don't go away. Norman.
Happening now on the Alternative Digital. The Alternative Digital. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Ugandans, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Dewa Kiki, the Deputy Defense Spokesperson, and actually the Deputy Spokesperson for the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I was hosted on Alternative Digital. I encourage all Ugandans that this is the way to go. Always watch, participate, give your views, and ask questions on Alternative Digital. Digital, the way to go.